And I want to talk from a thought today. I want to talk about the audacity of expectation, the audacity of expectation. You know, do you actually expect things to get better? You know, when we look at where we are right now, that's a question that I need to raise. Do we really have an expectation that things will get better? I'm truly believing that better is inevitable. That's how I live life. No matter how bad it may look, bleak it may be, dismal. I'm truly believing that I have an expectation that things will eventually get better, and it's not a wish, not a pray, and then I brace for the opposite or the worst. No, I truly believe that things get better. I truly have an expectation of God's goodness, and I have this because there are receipts. There are persons who have been through similar situations I've gone through, and even worse, and they've held on to this audacity of this audacious sort of expectation. King David, he was one that did, and he wrote it down in one of the most desperate psalms in the Bible, and that's what I want to talk about today. As we look, as you look into David's Psalm 27, Psalm 27, and he says that he would have lost heart. He would have lost heart if he had not believed to believe, if he had not believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about, spend some time on that one Hebrew word, tav. It's three letters, T-O or T-U-V or T-O-V. And it means it's everything that we need to hear. And it's packed into this single syllable. And we need to realize it. It's tav, T-O-V. And what it means in Hebrew is goodness, it's beauty, it's abundance, it's what is pleasant, what is desirable, what is fitting. It's the word that God spoke over creation in Genesis chapter 1. And he says, and God saw that it was tav. He saw that it was good. It's the same word. It's 6 times across that creation narrative and then David, he reaches for it here centuries later while he's surrounded by his enemies. He's talking about that he would have lost heart. He would have given up if he had not believed that he was going to see, if he did not believe he was going to see tav, that he was not believed that he was not going to see the goodness, the beauty, the abundance, the best of God in the midst of what he was going through. He says, I would have lost heart unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. David is not talking about heaven. He says, in the land of the living. He's not talking about eternity. He's talking about the land of the living. He's saying that while I still have breath in my body, while I am still standing in this hard season, he says, I expect to see the goodness of God here, now, in this life. And this is a different kind. I believe that's a different kind of faith than most of us sometimes practice. He says, I'm believing to see. I'm believing to see. I'm holding on to this audacious expectation that things are going to get better. And what you have to understand about what David is going through when he writes this, he's not on a mountaintop. He's not in a season of victory. He's not in the lap of celebration. This psalm is opening up with his enemies surrounding him, false witnesses rising against him. His own mother and his own father, the text tells us, is forsaken him. And this is not a man, my beloved brothers and sisters, that is writing from a place of comfort. This is a man that is writing from the edge. He's writing from the edge. He's in the middle of a crucible of struggle, and he's at the edge, and he's writing from that edge. And yet, in verse 13, it does not read like a man who has forgotten any of that. No, it reads like a man who has made a decision in spite of all of that, in spite of the false witnesses, in spite of being forsaken by his own parents, in spite of his enemies encamping about him, closing in on him. He is saying that he's not forgotten. He's made a decision in spite of it. He says, I would have lost heart. And understand, it's in the past tense, beloved. He says, I would have. It was conditional. He knows what collapse looks like. He can describe it. And then he names the one thing that held him back from it. And it's not strategy. It's not plan. It's a belief that is specific, that is targeted, that is covenantal. It's belief. It's Tov. It was the Tov. It was the belief in the goodness that was still available to him, goodness that was still coming, goodness he believed that was still his. He says, I believe I would see the goodness. So what we need to name here is what David is actually doing, because if we don't name it, we will miss it. Most of us have been trained to defer, to postpone our expectation, to postpone it, to hold on until heaven, endure until the storm passes. And I understand that posture. Endurance is real, and it is at times necessary. But David is not deferring here. David is expecting. He's expecting it in his now. He's expecting it in his storm. He's expecting it while the battle is still happening, while the outcome is still unseen. And that is what you call, my beloved brothers and sisters, audacity. Yes, it's audacity. Put that in the chat. It's audacious. It's audacity to expect, to not defer, hallelujah, better, but to expect it now. Somebody put in the chat, I expect better now. Not that he believed good things were he didn't believe that good things were possible, the best things were possible someday. No. He believed that Tov, he believed that goodness, abundance, the beautiful thing, the best thing of God was already on the way to him in the middle of his mess. And what we have to understand here is that audacious expectation is not denial. No, it's not denial. It's a confidence that emerges from our covenant relationship with God. Again, those that know their God shall be strong, and they will carry out great exploits. It's knowing who God is well enough to know what God does, even when the evidence hasn't caught up with your knowledge, even when the evidence has not caught up with your belief, even when the evidence has not caught up with your faith. And we have to understand that is a different posture from hoping. Hope says maybe. Confidence that comes from the covenant says, I know the character of the one whom I'm dealing with. I know the one in whom I believe, and I know that he's faithful. Glory be, and that settles it for me. Glory be to God. So what I want you to know directly here is this: wherever you are, whatever season that you're navigating right now, there is a version of you that has started lowering the ceiling on your own life. Not because you stopped believing in God, but you've lowered the ceiling on your own life because you have stopped expecting God to show up for you. To show up for you specifically and personally and in this season. But God sent me here this morning on my way to challenge that today. Because you need to know, I need to know, we need to realize that God is the source. And that will never change, regardless of what's being propagated and what's being pushed into the atmosphere today, that God is our source. And everything else is are resources. That everything is a resource. God is our source. And this means that the goodness of God needs somewhere to land. It needs a life. It needs a season. It needs someone willing to say, I'm still alive. Which means Tov has an address. And that address is you. It's your life. It's your situation. Goodness is looking for somewhere to land. The Tov of God, the best of God, is looking for somewhere to land. Looking for somewhere to pitch, to settle. That God's eyes are going to and fro and is looking for someone that is faithful enough, that whose heart has not been lowered, whose expectations haven't been dampened, but who are holding on, that the best is yet to come. holding on to that belief. And he's looking to show himself mighty in those kind of people. And you're not waiting on a slow God. No, you are positioning yourself in belief, position yourself in an expectation to receive what the covenant already guarantees. I am your God. You are my people, and I will dwell in your midst. And we have an audacity to expect goodness, that God will not withhold any good thing from those he loves. Not someday. God, you have an audacity to expect the goodness, not someday, but now. Come on, say goodness now. Tov now. Better now. In this land of the living. Not in the by and by, but here, right now. While the process is still messy. While the answer, the solution is still forming. While the decision is still pending. While you are still becoming. I'm expecting better now. And I want to leave you with this one charge before I go. I want you to say this to yourself even right now, and I want you to say it out loud if you can. Say this. I will see. Come on, say it. I will see the goodness of God in the land of the living. Come on, say it again. I will see the goodness of God in the land of the living. Not as a wish. This is a declaration. Because that's what David did in the middle and at the edge. He declared that he was going to see the goodness of God in the middle of it. And that's what held him. That's what kept him from losing heart, because he believed he was going to see it. That he was going to see the face of God. And that wasn't a metaphor. That was his lifeline. He was going to see the face of God. And it held him. And it will hold you. Declare it today. I believe I'm going to see the goodness of God in the land of the living.